next hour, join Steve and his guests as they talk about topics geared to educate and inform his audience. Listen as Steve brings his unique experiences as an author, business leader, teacher, and law enforcement professional to the conversation. Together with outstanding guests, Steve asks the questions that make a difference in his listeners' lives. You're guaranteed to be better off after you listen to the Kovacs Perspective than before his show started. So, sit back, relax, and see what his show can do for you.
Welcome to the Kovacs Perspective, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Steve Kovacs, your host. Our program tonight covers two really quite different topics, yet they come together in a way. The first topic is living a balanced life for those folks who are really just busy, whether in business, work, they're executives, or just busy people. Their life is just really busy, and they're kind of overwhelmed, or they just can't seem to live a balanced life. Balanced. We're going to talk about exactly what balance is. But for those folks that are just really running like the Energizer Bunny, remember those commercials that they just had that little Energizer bunny running constantly? Well, that's not a balance when you're just running and running. That's what our first topic is all about. Second topic is kind of funny. It's about dating, and it's about a program called Dating with Intention, the hiring process. Yeah, the hiring process. I don't want to say anything more about it. It's called Dating with Intention. What intention is that? Well, it's a hiring process intention. For what? Hire that person in your life. It's a new way of looking at dating. I'm curious. I think you will be too. So if you're looking for a love life, somebody that is looking for a love life to start dating, and you are unbalanced. And you know what I mean by that. If you're a little of both, or if you know somebody that's either or a little of both, tell them to tune into the Kovacs Perspective, either now, live, give them a call during our commercial, or tell them to check us out as a podcast, because we're covering two major topics for the well-being of people, life is not just eating and exercising and just surviving. Gusto's there too, isn't it? Peace is there. Our show is about that today. So stick around. We'll be back in 2 minutes and 2 seconds.
We'll be right back with Steve and his guests right after these few messages.
Remember the time you almost volunteered to work in a soup kitchen? Or when you almost visited the Veterans Hospital? Or when you almost brought dinner to your neighbor with AIDS? Remember all the times you almost helped, almost gave? Well, it's only human, this almost giving. But the truth is, it's the same as not giving at all. Don't almost give, give. Visit our website at don'talmostgive.org. A message from the Ad Council.
What is a hero? Are heroes born, or are they made? In after-school programs, your kids will uncover hidden strengths, discover they have the power to change their future, and find the hero inside themselves. Let us know you on after-school programs in your area. Call 1-800-USA-LEARN. After-school programs, helping kids find the hero within.
I can listen. I can cook. Good. I can coach.
Kids with something to do are less likely to do drugs.
I can drive.
I can paint.
I can dance.
A little of your time can make a lifetime of difference.
I can read.
I can help.
You can help. Call toll-free 1-877-KIDS-313 to find out about community drug prevention programs.
I can keep a kid off drugs.
And now back to the Kovacs Perspective.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming back with us. Our first guest is an individual that is a speaker, author, and a life coach. She has a program called Passport to Priorities, your roadmap to a balanced living. Kathleen Barton, how are you, my friend?
I'm fine.
Hey, your topic is extremely important. I don't know if you heard what I said in the beginning, but life is not just about putting food on the table. And, of course, we need those things, don't we, Kathleen? We have to cover the basics first. But after we've covered those basics, we have that roof over our heads, we have food, and we have, the basics that we need a balanced life, do we not?
Absolutely.
How do we do that?
Well, that's a good question, and I know a lot of people really struggle with that. And I tell you, in my book, Passport to Priorities, I focus on 3 keys. So I share the keys to balance. And one of them is taking care of yourself. And I find that women especially don't do a very good job at this because we're so focused on taking care of others, our children, husbands, elderly parents, that we put ourselves last. And a second key is to focus on the important. And a lot of people really don't know their priorities, and so therefore everything seems important. They're pulled in a lot of different directions, end up spinning their wheels and not really accomplishing anything. And then the third key is the third key is saying no to the unimportant. And here again, I think women especially have a hard time saying no because they're people pleasers and want to be liked. So I expand upon each of those keys in my book.
Okay, so you one is learning how to say no. The other one is knowing. Did I catch that right? Knowing your priorities?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So knowing your priorities and focusing on the important. And then the third one I mentioned is taking care of yourself.
Okay. How do we, I hate to put you on a spot, but I'm thinking of myself. How do we know what our priorities are, or let me go further, or should be, or how do we figure that out, Kathleen?
And that's a really good question. Now, what I do when I teach these seminars, I have people do an exercise in the class, and so I think certainly listeners out there may want to do this exercise at home. And so first what I have people do is just brainstorm. What are the most important things in life? So it might be your faith, your family, your career, living with integrity, having peace of mind. So just, taking a few minutes just to brainstorm. What are the first things that come to mind when you think of the most important things in life? And then next is to prioritize, pick out your top 5, say, and then prioritize them. And this is a little bit more difficult because people are looking at that list saying, oh my gosh, they're all important. So how do I determine which is most important? So I actually take them through a little analogy, if you will, where I have them imagine that they're in this raft rowing down the river of life, and that they have their top 5 priorities in this raft with them. And as in life, sometimes it's kind of smooth sailing, other times you hit these rough waters, and so you hit those first set of rapids. You brace yourself and, just do your best rowing, trying to get through it, but then the raft hits up against a sharp rock, and then it's punctured. So you're losing air, you're gaining water, and you're real concerned about making it to your destination. So then I tell people, you need to unload that raft. So pick one of those 5 priorities and then throw it overboard. So which one will you pick? And then I continue on in that analogy, and you're becoming more concerned and fearful because there's more water. You're taking on more water, and you're even fearful for your life, for that matter. And so I continue on and have them choose another priority that they're going to get rid of. And so basically I put it in a life or death scenario because they are all so important. And that really helps people to get really clear on what their top priorities are.
Well, let me tell you, Kathleen, I love that. I love that analogy. I really like how you do that. You got me going because, truthfully, I did not have an answer for myself. What are my priorities, or are my personal priorities, Kathleen? Are they the ones they should be? And I'll tell you, the way you explained it, I personally want to delve into your book. I want to go a little bit further with that. I mean, I like that. You're sinking. Okay, what else are you going to toss off? I really like that. So that sounds like a realistic way of finding out. I love it. And by the way, where can people get your book now that we're on it?
It's available on my website, and that is yourlifebalancecoach.com. So it's www.yourlifebalancecoach, and just click on products.
My next question is something that I'd like to get your take on. You say take care of ourselves. Do you mean exercise? Do you mean eating properly? Do you mean what?
Yeah, when I say take care of yourself, it really encompasses not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as well. In doing things that truly renew and refresh you. Because the challenge that we have is so many of us are really goal-oriented, we're driven, achievement-focused, and we try to do it all. And oftentimes, and we're taking care of others, but putting ourselves on the bottom of that list. So we need to take that time out, really on a daily basis, just some time to ourselves to rejuvenate. And on a weekly basis and longer periods on, say, an annual basis, like vacation. So really taking that time for ourselves, for something that renews and rejuvenates us. So it might be leisure activities like gardening or maybe jogging or playing with the dog or whatever. It's individual. It's
Kathleen,
individual
I'm going to put you on the spot because I'm just a mean kind of guy. What do you do to rejuvenate every day?
Well, what I do on a daily basis is every morning I take some quiet time, first thing in the morning, and I spend, about 20 minutes just to pray, meditate, reflect on my life, and then also focus on what I'm grateful for. And I find by taking that time first thing in the morning, it really helps me start off the day on the right foot. And then another thing I do, so that really fulfills me spiritually. Another thing I do is, I know I'm one of those weird ones. I actually like exercise.
I do too.
Do too. Yeah, so I do Zumba class 2 days a week, and I love it. I love to dance. And then I work out at Curve 3 times a week, 2 or 3 times a week. And then my husband and I love to play tennis, and so we try to play tennis on the weekends. We also enjoy hiking and taking the dogs on a hike.
Well, you got to be one in shape woman there, Kathleen. I mean, my God. I mean, dancing and pushing weights or resistance and walking and tennis. You are a fit woman. But that makes it's a part of a balanced life, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Hey, Kathleen, I want to cover as much of the time as we can. We've still got plenty of time. But, I think you talk about a syndrome called the Superman syndrome. Isn't that where a woman believes she has to be the best wife, best girlfriend, best mom, best employee, on and on, like a superwoman syndrome. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, some of us have gotten caught up in the superwoman syndrome, and I can say that was true for myself, over 20 years ago now. And in order to avoid that, there's really a couple things to keep in mind. One is that we need to realize that we can't do it all. And that's a fallacy that some of us grew up with. We were told you can do it all, you can have it all, be Superman, Superwoman, Supermom. But what they don't tell us is that, you can't do it without sacrifices. So there are trade-offs. It's a give and take. So realizing that you can't do it all and do it all well because something's bound to fall through the cracks. So instead, you focus on doing a few things well. Now, the other aspect to that, as you alluded to, is Superwoman, right? We want to be the best mom, the best wife, the best businesswoman. We have very high expectations of ourselves. So not only do we need to do it all, but we've got to do it all perfectly. But this kind of thinking really sets us up for failure because, no one's perfect. And so it's really a matter of reframing your thinking and going for good enough. So that means each individual needs to define what that means to them. And let me give you an example. I like a clean, tidy, a clean and tidy house. And when I became a mom, that was a real challenge, having a toddler around the house. And so I would actually, follow her and picking up toys after her throughout the day. And at the end of the day, I was exhausted. And I thought, this is not working. So I really needed to reset my expectations and standards and go for good enough, learn to live with some of the clutter. And I figured if I could just contain it to the family room and have things neat elsewhere, then I could live with it. So it's a really matter of resetting those expectations and standards. And
I think that's important. Somebody told me a long time ago, and maybe he used the wrong words, but actually it hit home for me. He said in a seminar, he was a prominent psychiatrist, and he said, try to be average. And for me, it hit home because I came from that mindset that I had to be the best, I had to be perfect, et cetera, et cetera. And when he said those words, be average, to me it really made sense. And I kind of learned on my own to be really good or try to be really good at certain things. And at many things, it's okay to be average. Now, it's kind of, I think, what you're saying. But I've told that, Kathleen, to some people, and you know what they say to me? Average. Right. Are you kidding me? I ain't going to be average. So what does that mean?
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Is it okay to be average?
Well, that's an individual thing. And I think the people who say that's ego. I think really you need to realize that you can't be the best in everything. I mean, that's impossible. So there are maybe a few things that you really excel at and do very well, but then that doesn't mean you're going to excel at everything. So some things you may be average, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's important.
So I think
when that person said that, I thought that he hit it on the nail on the head, and I believe you're saying that in a maybe a different way. Kathleen, what I wanted to ask you, and let's get into specifics here. And first of all, I really like what you're talking about. You really make sense. It's not pie in the sky, and I use that term a lot, Kathleen. People that listen to me regularly or know me know I use that, and that. When people talk in these huge generalities all the time, I don't like that. And you've got meat and potatoes on the radio table tonight, and I like that. But let me ask you, how can a busy working woman, and I know you talk about this and discuss this, but how can somebody that's really busy make time for important relationships with a boyfriend, a husband, or kids, or even close friends when they're really, really busy? Can they realistically, or if they can, how can they go about doing that?
Well, it really comes down to prioritizing, because we all have 24 hours in the day, no more, no less, and it's how we spend that time. And so if that is important to you, then you need to make time for that. So I would say you do that by planning and scheduling time for those important relationships. Because if we don't do that, if we're not intentional about it, then we can end up neglecting important relationships. So one of the things that I do is I actually set goals on a weekly basis in all areas of my life. So not just for my business, but also my personal life. For example, in my role as a wife, as a mother, as a friend. So I might have things on there to spend one-on-one time with my husband, and we'll actually schedule some time or a date night out. I might have on my list to call a friend that I haven't talked to in a while and catch up with her. Or family time, because family time is important to me. And one of the things that we do is we set aside Sunday evening for family time. And my kids are older now. They're 22 and 18. So they lead busy lives, but we set aside Sundays. We miss occasionally, but we set aside Sundays for family where we can come together. We might go out to dinner or a movie or maybe stay in and play a game. And so you have that time. If you're intentional about it, you plan for it and schedule it.
Okay, you got to do that. Hey, how can women say no? Or actually, I think you say that women have generally speaking, of course, they have a harder time saying no than men, but how can individuals say no tactfully?
Okay. So saying no, I think for women especially, they have a hard time because we are people pleasers. We want to be helpful. We want to be liked. And so here's a couple strategies that anyone can use, men or women. One is what I call the sandwich approach, and that's where you start with a positive, you decline, and then you end on a positive note. So let's say that you are asked to participate on a task force, whether it's for work or a community organization or church. And so you might respond by saying, well, that sounds very interesting, and I'd like to help. But, gosh, my plate is really full right now. Keep me in mind when another opportunity comes up. So that way, it comes across sounding more positive.
It certainly does. You did that very well, Kathleen. No. I wasn't mad at you anymore.
Yeah.
You really did. You did that well. So explain that again. You start with a positive. That was a great example. Explain that one more time for me, would you?
Sure. It's the sandwich approach where you start with a positive, you decline, and then end on a positive note.
Very good. Very good.
And there's one other way for saying no is what I call the negotiated no. And that's where you negotiate with the other person. So let's say it's a work situation. You're given an assignment where you negotiate, say, especially with regard to the scope of the deadline, either the scope or the deadline of the project. So it's a way of not actually coming right out and saying no, but you negotiate. So an example would be saying, well, I can take on that project if I have some help with it. Or you might say, I'm working on a high-priority project this week. Could this wait until next week? So there's ways that you can negotiate as well.
That made sense. That made sense.
Right no.
What got you into this? What got you into the realm of your interest in life balance? How'd you get here?
Well, I tell you, it's really based upon personal experience. It was many years ago, over 20 years ago now, I realized that my life was totally out of balance. So at the time, I was married, working full-time at HP in the Silicon Valley, and I was pursuing my MBA. Luckily, it was before kids, but I spent all my time working, studying, and going to school. That was my whole life. I didn't have time for anything else. I didn't have time for my husband, much less myself, and it was affecting my marriage. My husband, he finally put his foot down, and he said, Kathleen, this is not working. You are so busy, we never even see each other. Something has got to change. And that just hit me like a brick. That was my wake-up call, and I realized that I had totally lost sight of my true priorities. And I thought, what am I doing? I got so caught up in the rat race and getting ahead in my career that I was neglecting the most important things. And so then I, took a step back to really assess, what were my true priorities. And then I made some changes in my life to bring more balance and peace in my life, too. And so it has made such a difference in my life. And that's why I'm really passionate about helping others to find balance in their life.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Kathleen and I corresponded via email regarding her being gracious enough to come on my show. And Kathleen, your emails to me were, now, I don't know a better way to put this, but real balanced, very nice, polite, friendly, had meat behind them, too. They weren't just frivolous words. You had meaning behind everything. but it was gracious. It really exuded balance to me. Now, I don't know if anybody's told you that, but that's what I got out of it. And ladies and gentlemen, that tells me something, that Kathleen knows what she's talking about. And I'm not here to sell her book, but this is just factual. I was actually, your emails, Kathleen, to me were were different than 95% of the ones I get. And I get a lot of emails regarding the show, people wanting to do shows or people that are going to do the show. So it was balanced. It was done really well. So I think what I'm saying here is, I bet you're on to something, woman.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Your book, it's called Passport to Priorities, Your Roadmap to Balanced Living. And you said it can it be picked up at Amazon, or is it the best bet to go to your website? What's the better option?
Well, it is available on Amazon.com as well. However, right now I'm running a special on it, so you can get 25% off. So you can actually right now get a better price on my website.
Excellent. Yes. And do you have videos or any videos on your website of you doing seminars or no?
I do. Yes.
Okay.
There is a video clips tab. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So people can get to hear you and see you and get to know you a little bit. What the website is, and today's day and age, you don't even have to say www, but it kind of makes me feel like them old radio announcers. But it's www.yourlifebalancecoach.com, yourlifebalancecoach.com. Before we leave, and we have about a minute, Kathleen, can you give me in a minute what's your single most important message that you could tell us in 1 minute about that you'd like to get across about living a balanced life?
Right. Well, I would say to focus your life on your spiritual source. So that is where you get your sense of purpose and meaning in life. And for me, that is the Lord God. So for others, it might be Allah, Buddha, the universe. But I find that when I focus my life on the Lord and follow His guidance and direction, then my life flows more smoothly and balance becomes easier. And then when faced with those important decisions, I ask what God would have me do. So I like to use the analogy of a pinwheel. When you spin it, the pin holds the wheel together, and your source is the pin in that wheel. So when we get busy, our source holds our life together. Whereas if there weren't any pin, then we'd be scattered everywhere, flying in lots of different directions, and our life would be chaos. But with our source at the center, it gives us focus, and that results in better balance.
Kathleen, I could not imagine ending this on a better note. That makes so much sense what you just said, as did everything else. Kathleen, let me thank you very much for being kind enough to talk to our listeners and to talk to me. And I hope to talk to you again. Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, great. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to what they call a hard break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about dating, the hiring process. Do not go away. We'll be back.
Hey everybody, this is Keith Zalley from the WTOE Radio Network, and right now we're going to take a few extra minute break just so we can save our files for our podcast. So please don't go anywhere, because there's going to be more Steve and the Kovacs Perspective in just a few minutes.
It sizz, it dices, with razor-like edges that never need sharpening. It's not a blender. It's not a set of steak knives. It's car windshield. And now, it can be yours. Here's how. Next time you're in a car and the driver's driving recklessly, simply say nothing. That's right. Let them change CDs. Let them text on their phones. Ignore that little voice in your head that's trying to warn you. And you too can experience car windshield. Passengers who have tried car windshield agree. It's a smash. Car windshield may not be for everyone, as it can lead to severe side effects and even death. Please consult your physician after you've experienced car windshield. Passengers who wish to avoid car windshield can do so by following simple steps, like trusting their instincts, speaking up, and telling their friends to slow down.
In the real world, there is no spokesperson to prevent reckless driving. There's only you. Speak up.
Act now. Paramedics are standing by.
This has been a message from the Ad Council. For more information, go to youarethespokesperson.com.
Nothing inspires imagination like reading. And it's never too early to start reading to your children. When you open a book, you can explore new worlds like the ones in the Chronicles of Narnia.
Everything you see is Narnia.
Impossible.
You can make new friends, discover amazing adventures, and most of all, have fun.
Are you prepared for what awaits you?
To find out more about the wonders of reading, you can visit the Library of Congress website at www.loc.gov. There, you can learn more about books, play fun games, discover cool facts, and so much more. You can log on to www.loc.gov and let your journey begin. This message has been brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Have you ever lost a cat? And have you ever wanted to get your cat back after you lost it? Hi there, I'm Andrew Hoffman. I went on this website called inventnow.org. Then I decided to make an invention of my own. It's called the Lost Cat Magnet invention. So you can get your cat back after you lost it. Just turn it on, and lost cats stick to it. That's a good cat. If your cat was hiding up in a tree, it won't be up a tree anymore. It will be stuck to the lost cat magnet. And sometimes they fly toward you in the air. Just listen to one satisfied cat. See, that's proof. You should go to the inventnow.org website too. But just remember one thing. Don't do a lost cat magnet.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the National Inventors Hall of Fame Foundation, and the Ad Council.
Are you stuck in front of your computer listening to our shows? Well, you may be happy to know that you don't have to be anymore. Hi, this is Keith Zalley, your announcer here at WTOE Radio. Of course, you know we broadcast live on ThroughOurEyes.org, but did you know we simulcast on Facebook, Ustream.tv, as well as all of our show's host websites? And now you don't have to be stuck trying to catch your favorite show on your computer. You can listen or even watch our shows live right on your smartphone or iPad. During broadcast nights, just point your phone or iPad browser to our mobile site, m.throughoureyees.org, and click on the Listen or Watch Live link. WTOE also offers many smart apps for your iPhone, BlackBerry, Android, Windows Mobile, or Nokia phones, iPads too, all for free. Visit our main site, www.throughoureyees.org/appstores.html, and download your free app today. We'll be right back with Steve and his guests right after these few messages.
Hey, everybody, we're back with our second guest, and our second guest is a relationship coach. She does a program, and I'm not sure if it's an actual book yet or if it's a book in the making, but she is a coach, and she's working on this program at bare minimum. And again, we're going to find out about it. But it's called Dating with Intention, the hiring process. Man, how can you not want to know about this? Our guest is Laura Wilson. How are you, Laura?
Hi, Steve. I'm well, thank you.
Hey, Laura, tell me, first of all, is this a book or is it a book in the making? Or is it not even going to be a book?
It's actually, I guess, a little bit of both. It's right now I use the what I've written, the book that I've written is the guidebook that I take my clients through, going through the program. But eventually I would like to turn it into a book for a more public market.
Okay, so this is a guidebook that you actually use with your clients.
Yes.
Ah, excellent. Explain what that means. I look at the title, and I kind of think I know what it means, but explain it to me. What do you mean by dating with intention? Don't we all date with intention? And talk to me about the title.
Okay, so the name of the program, it's Dating with Intention, the hiring process, and it speaks specifically about the intention of finding someone to share your life with. And I use a business analogy in my program, which is that you are the CEO and president of your life, and you're looking to hire a partner. This is a very high position in your life, and it's really important that you find the partner that's going to meet and have all the qualifications that you're looking for in a mate. So it's kind of a little bit different way of looking at it, but it actually works. And as far as does everyone date with intention, people date for different reasons, and they don't all have the intention of I'm really going to find someone to share my life with. It may be that we date for the now, what our needs are at this moment. We might not just need a date for the office party or something. So there's a lot of different reasons why people date. But in this particular program, it's that you have this lofty position that you're looking for someone to fill. And that's a partnership.
Okay. And start me off as a baby, baby steps. What's the first thing that you recommend to your clients in this process, the hiring process? How do you start off?
So the first thing that you want to do if you're looking to hire a partner, right, you want to get very clear about the job description. What is it that you're looking for? What kind of a relationship do you want to have? What are you expecting that person to, what do you need them to be able to be or do, or what qualifications would they need to have in order to fit the life that you want to create?
But Laura, when do you do that? I mean, do you do it before you accept that first date, or kind of make yourself in an unconscious way, kind of like flirtatious way, and that's probably the wrong word. Do you kind of observe that before, or do you discuss this after 6 drinks? Or, I mean, how do you bring that up? I mean, how do you interview that client?
Oh, I love it. That's it. Oh, now how do I interview the client, or how does they interview
how does one?
The applicants?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first, when they know what they're looking for, it actually streamlines the search. So we're often out, we're dating, we're trying this, we're trying that, we're saying, well, maybe this person, maybe that person. So the more clear you know what you want before you even go out on the date, the better. And that sets you up for, as you just led into, the interview process, which is now I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to find out more about you. And, yes, you actually can start that even before the first date. If you pick up the phone and you're having a conversation with them, maybe setting up when you're going to meet for coffee for the first time or something, you can ask them questions that encourage them to open up, and you can get to know them a little bit, find out about their values, who they are really. A lot of people, I think there's the idea, I want a tall, dark, and handsome. But there's so much more to creating a relationship than a tall, dark, and handsome. So the more that you are able to kind of ask some really good questions that get into a little bit about who they are, what do they love, what are they passionate about, where do they see their lives going, things like that, which help them to really open up and share with you who they are. And then you can kind of see, this is, it's very attractive, and you see the beauty of the person that they really are within.
And then again, and correct me, then if you see that the person is really quite different in their viewpoints than what you're looking for or what you are, you graciously can bow out if you're doing a little bit of this piece by piece. You just say one day you just realize that this is going to be a dead-end street and it's time to pull the plug, but you can do it graciously if you do it your way.
Absolutely. And it's actually a great gift because you don't want to string someone along and lead them on to think, this is going somewhere, this is going to be serious, this is going to be a real deal. If you've already come to the conclusion, you know what, this isn't exactly what I'm looking for. That person doesn't have the qualities and characteristics and values that I really want in a partner, then stringing them along is really what it does is you may end up falling in love with them, so you're going to get hurt because you're not going to have your needs and expectations met, and it's going to eventually hurt them as well. So I definitely would say if you really discover that this is not someone that you want to have another interview with or continue seeing or, create that relationship with, give them their freedom, let them go. It's actually a gift because you've set them on their path, and now they can go out and find someone who really is going to appreciate them for who they are. If it's not you, there is someone out there. So better to let them go and be free and find that person than string them along.
Well put. I think very well put. When you said, what caught my attention, and I actually wrote myself a little note here. Laura, that you said if the person doesn't have the qualities and characteristics, and I think you used another term, and apparently I'm getting old and I can't write that fast, and I certainly can't remember what you said. I wish I could, but maybe the needs. It almost, and when I say almost, I mean it, because I say what I mean, it almost sounds kind of cold and impersonal. Am I incorrect?
When you take the time to really look at a person and identify who they really are, their qualities, their characteristics, and their values, by the way, I think was the word that
thank you.
We skipped over really fast, then you're getting into who the essence of that person is. And I don't think there's anything cold about looking for the inner qualities and the inner beauty of someone that you're talking to. So you're really, you learn to look for who are you really? What makes you beautiful? What are you passionate about? What excites you about your life? Where are your values? Those are all very intimate things because they're very personal to the individual. It's about who they really are deep down inside.
You sold me. It isn't cold. The way you explained it for a little bit for me, Laura, it seemed a little bit cold. It doesn't anymore. What you said makes total sense, and that's, of course, what you are looking for in a mate and in your significant other, whatever the term is. Hey, Laura, what's the worst part of dating? What do you hear from your clients? What do they hate about dating? They got to hate something about dating. Because if I went back to dating, I think I'd hate dating.
Yeah, I think for the most part, it's the struggle of really finding that person that you can connect with. It's very frustrating. It's frustrating to go out on a date and be bored to tears or really just find, oh, no, I did not connect with this person. How soon can I get out of here? You know, you spend how many hours getting dressed up, getting ready, going out, and spending time with someone. And when you really feel that it's not the right person, you're not having that connection, it's frustrating, especially when you're really serious about finding someone to create a life with. So I think that that's probably the biggest drag about dating is the number of people that you feel that you have to go through before you find this special someone.
Okay. What's different on Laura, your program than other programs out there? What do you think is a little bit different? Because it certainly sounds different to me. Let me know what you think is the core difference.
I would say that it's probably in the approach. I have a very empowering approach. And instead of kind of dating and getting advice in terms of, here's how you should dress or what you should talk about or what you shouldn't talk about, or, there's a lot of dating advice out there. Should I do this on the first date? Should I not? It's really, this program is so focused on actually getting you clear about what you want and teaching you how you can easily go from where you are to where you want to be in terms of finding that someone quickly and effectively without wasting a lot of your time. Because we're all very, very, very busy, and busy is stressed, and adding more stress and more busy and more effort into it, it's frustrating. So it's a very streamlined program, and it's very empowering because instead of being in the place of feeling like I'm someone who I hope they like me, or I hope they pick me, or maybe they'll date someone and that person wasn't for them, and they'll go, well, what was wrong with me? But it wasn't really what was wrong with you. It's just that person wasn't right for who you are and for what you want, and you're maybe not right for who they are and what they want. But when someone rejects you, it's actually a gift. They're saying, go be free and find that person that's really, really going to appreciate you. Because ultimately we want to be in healthy, strong relationships where we're valued, where our partner says, I love you, I think you're the greatest thing on the planet, and I believe in you, and anything that you want to do, I'm going to support you and be by your side no matter what. And that's what we really want. So we're in a power
Where can
position.
people pick up information? Now you don't do clients. You don't work with clients over the telephone or the internet, or do you? Or do they have to be face to face?
I absolutely do it over the phone, almost exclusively. I do my coaching over the phone, so they can be anywhere. I've had clients all over the world, really, internationally. Yeah.
Tell us how people can get a hold of you.
go to www.transitionswithlaura.com.
And they can see what you have to offer, and they could. So you do this mainly, or you said exclusively, over the telephone.
I do.
Isn't it great technology, what it can offer people nowadays as opposed to 100 years ago?
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I can talk to people in China. You know, who would have thought?
It's amazing. And then with Skype out there, you know, you can actually see the person. I'm going to ask you, do you have any success stories of someone you've worked with that thought it was over for them, or they really are not going to find that person that floats their boat, that lights their candle, whatever you want to use, whatever term, and then they got a hold of you and you worked with her or him for a while, and it turned out to be a movie script kind of thing? Do you have anything like that?
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a really good friend of mine who took a lot of the principles that I work with in my program, and then she applied them to her life. And she had previously gone on 200 first dates. So she was
How
serious.
many?
200.
Oh.
So she was serious. She was looking. She didn't want to compromise. And she wasn't going to settle for somebody who wasn't right for her. And once she got very, very clear about what it was that she was looking for and just really set her intention, that's where that great word comes in, to find that special someone, amazingly, actually, she did have that miracle that they showed up. And she's extremely happily married right now. So it really, when you do the process, when you walk through these steps, it really creates a huge shift from maybe where she was in terms of what she was looking for, and then she got really, really clear about it, and then it got very defined. And so it's just learning how to, you know, put all these things in place, and it works. It works really well.
Excellent story. Excellent story. Do you find that women feel they have to get involved sexually with the people they're trying to get a lasting relationship with? Do you see that occurs more nowadays, less nowadays?
Wow, that's a really good question. Do women feel that they have to? I think that when you come from an empowered place, that you know that you're the one in control and that you can make a lot of these choices and decisions for yourself, that you're not in a position of feeling like, if I don't do this, then they won't want me. You know what I mean? If that's kind of where that's coming from. Is that point?
I think I do know. Explain that one more time. I think you were on something very, very, very deep there, and it made a lot of sense. Explain that one more time, please.
I think that if you need to do what's right for you and go with what's comfortable for you. So if you're coming from a place of, I am an empowered woman, and I'm going to not settle. I'm going to find someone who's amazing, wonderful, and who's going to meet my needs on every level, right? Then you're not coming from a place of kind of feeling like, well, if I don't engage in sex with you, then you're not going to want me, because you really want someone who wants you completely for you. You don't have to get involved in a sexual relationship if that's not where you are.
Made sense. Makes much sense. What's the most common problem that your clients have?
The most common problem that they have is, where do I meet new people? Where do I find someone who's a quality person? That's what I get that question all the time. How do I
do you? That's a good question. I used to hear, help me here, many, many moons ago, this was many years ago, it's dating me, I was a little kid at the time, laundromats, and now, of course, I've heard grocery stores. My producer just said something in my ear about New Jersey. What was that, Lenny? Fair Lawn, New Jersey. He must be in the market for a date. His wife's going to beat him up for that, though, Laura.
Uh-oh.
But seriously, Laura, where do you go find people?
Well, there's something that I like to put in place that I just call it social strategy. So you're going to develop a strategy, basically, to get you out there and meeting people. Now, one of the best places right now to meet people, believe it or not, is online dating. It's extremely popular. You can meet new people from the comfort of your own home. You don't even have to get dressed up and go out. You can just go online and meet people. And there's certain tricks to that too, as far as being cautious and not jumping into anything, without being prepared and careful. But it's a great way to go out and meet new people, just staying home. But in addition to that, there is anything that excites you, that you love to do. That's a great place to go and meet new people. So one of the examples I use is, if you like sci-fi conventions, and that's something that you're really into, then go to the sci-fi convention and be open to meeting people. It's kind of an attitude shift. It's like, I'm going to smile at people, I'm going to walk up and talk to people, I'm going to be friendly and outgoing. And you never know where the love of your life is going to come from. They can come from anywhere. I spoke to a woman recently who loves Chihuahuas, and so she's gone out and joined a Chihuahua meetup group where other people who have Chihuahuas get together. It's great because you can meet someone anywhere. So just get out there, be open, look around, do what you love. Because when you're doing what you love, then really you kind of shine out a little bit. It's like, ooh, I'm excited. Oh, gee. And people will notice that, and they'll be attracted to you. So the more that you get out and do the things that you really enjoy, the more that you will likely to connect with someone, obviously, who enjoys those things as well.
Actually, that was great advice. It makes total sense. I don't know if people that date know that, but yeah, you go places where, places that you really enjoy. That makes a lot of sense. What's a client get, Laura, when they work with you? So somebody calls you up and says, hey, I want to be content. I want to find the love of my life or the love of my life. What's a client get when they work with you?
Yeah. So they get a lot.
That's good.
First of all, they get a very fully empowered viewpoint. They're going to get really, really clear about what it is that they want, so that they're not going to settle for someone that's not really going to meet what their needs are. Also, we get into really digging in and helping them realize what it is that they bring to the table, which is a huge confidence booster. If you want to be empowered, you go out there knowing how awesome you are and what an asset you will be in that relationship, and it makes you stronger, stand taller, be more confident. You're going to be more willing and open to talking to people. Maybe if you were shy and you're not comfortable with that, well, we boost your confidence. You're going to be really ready to go out and do that. Then we talk about where are great places for you to meet people. We talk about how you can build trust and recover maybe from past pain in your relationships. We go through a healing process and a forgiveness process of getting you through maybe whatever those blocks were that you ran into previously, so that you don't go back and recreate those kinds of relationships.
Laura, you sound pretty smart.
Well, thank you.
You sound like the answer woman to go to. I'm very impressed. Hey, does a client have something already inside themselves that you as the relationship coach can utilize and get them going forward? Already something there? Is there something like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely there is. Because no one is like you. I tell everyone, you're the only one like you. You are a unique and special person. You are just like Tigger, the only one. There isn't anybody else who has the same qualities, the same spirit, the same interests, the same everything that makes you who you are. The very essence of you is so unique and so beautiful. And I believe that when you see your own beauty and you shine that out to the world, that someone is going to see that beauty and they're going to go, oh my gosh, you are the greatest thing on the planet. I'm so glad to have met you, and I really want to spend my life with you. So you already have it. It's about really getting, showing it to yourself so that you can see it and walk with that confidence. Know that you're unique. Know that no one's like you, and that you deserve to be with someone who appreciates that very thing that you are.
Excellent. Now, if someone calls today, and matter of fact, do you have any trial periods or anything free, like sales or anything like that?
I do. Right now, if you go to my website, you can sign up for, I'm offering right now a free online profile evaluation for people who are dating online. There's a right way and a wrong way to do that. And so I help people create an amazing online profile that kind of shines out who they are, and so they're going to attract the right kind of person to them, as opposed to maybe some of the other kinds of people that might be attracted based on what they've got so far. And,
well, you mentioned before, so people can sign up and they get that free profile?
Absolutely, yes. I will work with them one-on-one to make sure that they create a profile that actually reflects who they really are and attracts the kind of person they want to attract.
You know, I'm Mr. Macho kind of guy, I guess, because I'm a man, but I can see that your service can make a difference. I mean, again, we had a guest before you, and she really had meat in her conversation. By that I mean it had substance, and so do you. It's just not you're not like kind of throwing dice on the table and hoping for something good to come out of that role. You have, it sounds like, tried and tested things that work. So that if I was somebody that was having trouble dating and was scratching my head going, oh God, what do I do? I could see talking to a person such as yourself, and you mentioned before, Laura, about online dating, and I used to hear about that a few years ago, and I said, my God, you got to be absolutely crazy to do online dating. That was before. I know a number of people, men and women, that are happily married and happily, years into relationships, and guess where they met? Online through one of these services.
Yes.
It's just amazing to me. I mean, did that surprise you when it first became the rage that it is such a real, a workable process?
It speaks about the wonderful technology that we have today, because where it maybe used to be really difficult to find someone new and meet someone, and even if they didn't live nearby you, how would you get to know them? But now you can go online and you can, just what I said earlier, you're sitting at home in your jammies with your bunny slippers on, and you can go online and find someone who has the same interests as you, who you'd like to talk to, and you put some of these processes in place that help you to learn how to interview them and know whether or not they're right for you, and amazing things can happen. You absolutely can meet the love of your life online. I met my love of my life online.
There you go. Hey, how did you know I had bunny slippers on? A little joke, a little humor. Okay. So if people want to, there's got to be pitfalls, though, aren't there, with online dating? I mean, certain things you don't want to put down, or got to be some pitfalls, correct?
I definitely think there are mistakes that people make when they are creating their profile, things that might give the wrong impression. You need to kind of go at it with the attitude of, this is my first impression that I'm making on this person. So what kind of impression do I want to make, right? If you're going to meet someone and you're looking at all these many profiles, and a lot of pictures will pop up and a lot of write-ups will pop up, and it's like a little blurb that talks a little bit about who you are. But if all you're going to say about yourself is, I like long walks on the beach and cuddling by a fire, guess what? Everybody likes long walks on the beach and cuddling by a fire. So it doesn't necessarily make you stand out. So
that's hilarious. So is that the standard thing, that everybody likes those two things?
Everybody likes those two things, sure. Absolutely.
So if someone gets a hold of you and they do this profile, is a profile, is it a long process when you sign on with these services and you put your life down there and what you're looking for? Is it a very involved, long process, or is it short and sweet?
I think it is what you make it, because I do a lot of research and I've seen a lot of profiles. So there, you can do the short and sweet. You can put almost nothing down, which doesn't tell anyone anything about you. So you're not really going to put yourself out there too much. In a way, you have to be a little bit vulnerable and say who you are. Or you could write a mini novel and have it be 3 pages worth of who you are. So I think there's a happy medium.
What do you recommend?
I would recommend keeping it short, relatively short and sweet, but explaining a little bit more about your essence, a little bit more about what makes you different. How are you unique and different? What makes you special? And then there are those pitfalls that you talked about, which is don't complain about your exes. If that's one of the things that you're doing on your online profile, it actually screams out, hey, I have baggage, I have issues, I don't trust people. So don't do that.
So you don't want to put in there, and I don't like a guy that does this or watches too much of this. So, I mean, you just don't want to do that kind of complaining, huh?
It's a bad idea. This is your first impression. You want to make a good first impression.
What's the worst thing, do you think, men do in the dating world?
Wow, what's the worst thing that men do in the dating world? I can't do that. I can't target a man. I've talked to men who I think there's an idea that men only want one thing, and that may be true about some people, but the majority of men that I've spoken to and gotten to know, they actually are more attracted to having real conversations, getting more depth, having real connections. So there's an idea out there kind of floating around that men only want one thing, and that one thing is sex, and, they're just playing a game. I think there are a lot of really great quality men out there who are not just playing a game.
I agree with you.
They want the real
I talk to a lot of men. Being a man, I talk to a lot of friends, and I think the vast majority want meaning behind it. And then every now and then I run into a friend or an associate that's kind of like a sex addict, and that's not healthy. So I agree with you. Laura, we have 1 minute left. I'm going to mention the title of your program. And folks, I think what Laura's doing is actually getting more information, and maybe she'll do a book. And who knows, maybe if you're one of those great success stories, I'm sure she won't use your name, but maybe you'll be a part of her book. But the program is called Dating with Intention, the Hiring Process. And Laura, tell the folks, please, one more time, where they can get a hold of you. And she's offering a free profile thing for online dating services. So she can fire that up for you. But tell the folks, we have about 30 seconds left on how they can get a hold of you.
All right. Come visit me at www.transitionswithlaura.com.
Excellent. Hey, Laura, thank you very much. You were great. I learned a lot from you. And if I'm ever in that dating world, you'll be hearing from me, and I'll be on all these websites and all that stuff, and I'll get a fake picture of me, and I'll look like Brad Pitt or something. I'm just kidding. Thank you very much, Laura. It was great.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Ladies and gentlemen, the second and fourth Wednesday of every month, be here or be there or be square. I love that line. I've been using it lately the last month. We love to have you here. Get a hold of me at info@thekovacsperspective.com. Tell us what you think. Say hi. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, so long.
Kovacs Perspective is brought to you by the WTOE Radio Network at throughoureyes.org. All WTOE shows are available as a podcast. Visit our podcast page to learn more. The Kovacs Perspective was written by Steve Kovacs, directed by Tom Bendenwald Jr., technical director and audio engineer Len Azzarone, assistant audio engineer Lori Viscuso. For more information about the Kovacs Perspective, visit www.kovacs.org. allsourcesecurity.com. All words, ideas, and comments expressed on the Kovacs Perspective are those of Steve Kovacs and not necessarily those of the National Federation of the Blind, the NFB Northeast New Jersey chapter, or the WTOE Radio Network. Until next time, I'm Keith Zally.